So there you are, you're sitting at your desk, getting on with your day, everything's going swimmingly, and your number one person walks in the door and tells you they're leaving. Not for a sabbatical, not to go to Bali on holiday, but they're leaving to go to your deadliest competitor. What you do? If you're like me, the first thing you do is you get bloody angry very quickly. I mean, I was practically biting the carpet in rage. How dare they do this? How dare they? I made them. It doesn't help. You got to get that out of your system and then calm down. After that, I think panic sets in because of the ripple effect. You'll have to tell people about it. And you might think to yourself, oh my God, now they're going, their team's going to go. And if their team goes, other people will go too. And suddenly you're facing this tsunami of resignations. And what about clients? You know, clients love him or her. When this person walks, are all their clients going to walk? And will that make other clients walk? And before you know it, you haven't got a business. It's just you on your own with all these debts and no money coming in. Keep calm. What you've got to do is divide the problem into 3 parts. The person who's leaving, the staff who remain, and clients. So let's look at the person who's leaving. The first thing to realize is the chances are they probably checked out emotionally sometime before they actually handed in their resignation, in which case throwing money at them won't work, throwing promotions at them won't work. In fact, they'll probably say to you, if you thought that highly of me, you should have done this months ago, which is perhaps true. See if you can find out the reason why. You might not like the reason why, but at least you've got knowledge and perhaps you can not make the same mistake, if it is your fault, twice. If you're lucky, there might be someone of great integrity who goes perfectly, who's completely aware of their obligations, who does so with grace, in which case have a huge leaving do for them. You never know where they're going to crop up in future. They might become your client one day, so be nice to them. On the other hand, some staff undergo a sort of personality transplant. Suddenly, the firm's clients are their clients. Suddenly, their contract of employment is sort of open to interpretation and negotiation. Suddenly, your intellectual property, the thing that makes your firm different from the others, is a useful reference kit for them rather than something that's off limits. So if you suspect this might be happening, I think what you need to do is apologize to them for what's about to happen and send them a stiffly worded legal letter that sets out in no uncertain terms what their obligations are. And make sure the remaining staff know you've done this. I found it useful for 2 reasons to tell staff that we'd consulted the lawyers at Lewis Silkin in our case, whenever someone was leaving, because I wanted them to know that, first of all, we did things by the book. We weren't capricious, we weren't mean, we weren't nasty. We did things properly, and that means consulting the lawyers. And secondly, we don't put up with unethical behavior from anyone. So remind them of their obligations. You might have to deny them access to elements of your system because you don't want them downloading lots and lots of material. In one case we actually had a firm of computer experts come in to check to see if the individual in question had downloaded any data before they'd resigned. But people have got to understand that when they leave, your business is not open to being pillaged by them. And you can be perfectly nice and straightforward about that. Now comes the fun part, the staff who remain, and they're going to be unsettled. And I think what you have to do here is think quite carefully about staff who are really important to you and the rest. The big temptation is to throw money like sweeties at everybody and offer promotions to everybody and all the rest of it. And what that will do is put up your staff cost to income ratio. And if people who are on the receiving end of this largesse decide to leave anyway, they'll leave anyway, just walking away with more money than they would have had otherwise. So work out who's important to you, really important to you. And you've got to have a grown-up conversation with the important ones and people who are important and might be on the fence. For some, a modest pay bump now will sway them in your direction. For others, a clear path to promotion, giving them KPIs and so on, will be perfectly acceptable. I think that the trick is discernment, really. Reward commitment, not opportunism. If people think the grass is greener, they're going to walk anyway, no matter how much money you throw at them. Above all, communicate. Explain the situation calmly. People are much less likely to panic when the leadership looks composed and in control of events. Gossip thrives in silence. Reassurance, not bribery, is the real retention tool here. And then you come to clients. Well, clients are loyal right until the point they're not loyal. Some will just shrug it off. So what? This happens, that's life. Others might treat it as an excuse to review their options. One or two might already be halfway through an NDA with your former employee. So get ahead of this if you can. Speak to clients personally. Reassure them the service they've had in the past, they'll continue to get in the future. It's just a few faces have changed. Emphasize stability and senior oversight, your senior oversight. Clients have to see that they matter to the person right at the top of the organization, not just the person who's walking. And if you do lose one or two, it's not the end of the world. It happens to every firm, every single firm. It's not just you. Everyone loses one or two clients. So don't panic about it. If you've got good systems elsewhere in the business, you'll replace them soon enough. I think the loss of your star player feels deeply personal, and it's not. Handle departures with intelligence and composure. As always, time is short. There's lots to do. Good luck and get cracking.